Peace and love. This is Brother Faheem, and you are now tuned in to the Leave of Logic podcast. You know the vibes. Peace and love, y'all. This is your gracious host, Brother Faheem, back with another episode of the Leave of Logic podcast. And y'all know what I say, man. Life always moves at an ultra magnetic pace, and I always try to keep my boots laced so I can win the race. Yeah, man. So much going on in the world, so much going on. The big thing that's been prominent and on everybody's mind, at least on everybody's television screen, is the whole Diddy debacle. It seems like since November of last year, when that first lawsuit was filed, and it's just been flowing downhill for Mr. Combs ever since then. So, man, I want to really get into it because what I've been seeing online has been kind of alarming. It's been rather disturbing from all perspectives, not just what we've seen as far as the Cassie video and all the people who have statements and comments who have been coming forward and speaking about what they may have witnessed. All of these things are disheartening, but you know, also seeing people's perspective and seeing how people have turned on Diddy, on Mr. Combs, right? Because a lot of these allegations are from years back. Welcome. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe to the channel and share the space. And the chat is open, and I'll be reading the comments. If you guys have questions, then go ahead and ask the questions in the chat. But again, a lot of things that we've seen that have happened with Diddy, they were allegations or accusations from years past. So it's just amazing to see how people have really responded to him, right? And how people are speaking on his character, speaking on the crimes, and speaking on what's been happening. Yeah. So, but again, this is Brother Faheem, the host of Leave of Logic. Hopefully this microphone was on. If it wasn't, welcome to the Leave of Logic podcast. And by the way, Leave of Logic stands for letting enlightenment and divinity win in this harsh level of God's infinite creation. Make sure that you come on in, relax for a second. I'm going to be answering the chat. So if you have anything, put it in there. And you can, if you're on X, wherever you are, if you're on YouTube, please like, subscribe, share it out, send the link out so we can get more people in here. So a couple things that I wanted to show to you guys before I get started. I saw a clip came through my timeline, and it was Fat Joe and Jadakiss, and they were speaking about Puffy. They were questioning about Puffy, and I thought what they said was reflective of my sentiments. So I want to share this with you guys. Yeah, I want to share it with you so that you can take a look. And this is a clip. Now, this is on YouTube. This clip is on YouTube. So y'all check this out.
The industry is most indebted to. Once upon a time, I thought it would be P. Diddy. I still feel that way, to be honest with you, because I think he did a lot for a lot of artists, but he obviously did a lot for himself. What are we to feel about P. Diddy right now? Your thoughts?
Pray for him.
Our guy Diddy is currently in the news crazy. And so he would have been one of those guys. But right now he's dealing with something. When you see what you see, somebody that we've worked with in the industry for a long time going through what Diddy's going through right now.
What I can say in the most respectful way is I don't know all the details, but I've been praying for him and his family. He's my friend for 30 years. I'm just praying for this whole situation, this nightmare. Praying it goes away.
The way the world is set up, where everybody can chime in on your life, it's kind of unfair. Totally. When you're going through, a situation like he's going through, and the actual truth, well, you gotta wait to see what comes out.
The actual truth, you gotta wait to see what comes out. Pray for him. I don't know all the details. I really loved Fat Joe's language in that video because it's reflective of how I think typically, right? If I don't know the details of any circumstance, if I can't show and prove whatever it is that I'm talking about, then I'm really not going to speak on it. I'm going to wait because that's the way that justice is supposed to work, right? It's not supposed to be a hasty circumstance. It's supposed to be something that emerges through a process, through due process. So I thought that was interesting that Fat Joe and Jadakiss gave him, you know, that mercy or that compassion, I would say. So yeah, but nonetheless, let's get to it. Let's get to it. So I have something else I'm going to look at in writing, some articles that kind of detail the the timeline with Mr. Combs and what's been happening, what's been going on. So we're gonna read through a little bit of it, and then we're gonna hear what's going on. Because on CNN they've been having Diddy, all over the place. And another thing that I've been hearing before I get to this video or this article, another thing that people have been saying, and it's cool, I understand it. People have been saying that, you know, it's so much going on that, this is not really important. I've seen people online say that. I've seen videos where people posted that, and it kind of made me grin because we've always been a nation that has been overwhelmingly interested with entertainment. People watch the Super Bowl every February or whenever it comes on. People watch Wimbledon. As we speak, the NBA Finals is going on. We watch the Oscars, we watch the Grammys. So entertainment is very, very intertwined into the American way of life in all aspects of it. When the O.J. Simpson trial was on television, over 150 million people watched the verdict, right? The trial of the century, right? When the Michael Jackson trial was on, people tuned in from all over the place. Rest his soul, him and O.J. So much to the point where he stood on top of his car. Remember? Y'all remember the image? I can see it in my mind. He stood on top of his car. He did his famous Michael Jackson tap. So, you know, what I'm saying is this is very relevant in American culture. Number one, because we are entertainment and tourist and a nation that involves ourselves in that thoroughly. And also any time that race comes into play in American politics, in the judicial system, in sports, there will always be a crowd lurking. There will always be people paying attention with a perspective or trying to give you an analysis or an interpretation as to what they see and what they understand. So yeah, I just wanted to say that because we can find value in a lot of things. Even a broke clock is right twice a day if you know how to read and interpret it. So let me get to that. Let me get to that article so that you guys can read so we can see exactly what the timeline is. Listen, reading is a lost art. We're going to watch some videos, but I like to read because when you read, that's exercise for your mind and you get to grapple and strengthen your ability to understand, right? And your ability to interpret life on a 3D level. And so let's look at what we have. Now, this is an article. It's entitled Sean Diddy Combs Allegations Timeline, right? And it's on NBC News. You guys can follow along. You guys can go look it up whenever you get a chance. But this is where I got that from. That's the source. So Sean Diddy Combs allegation, the timeline, what to know. Federal agents raided Combs' properties following 5 civil lawsuits accusing Combs of sexual assault, trafficking, and other illegal activities. Combs has denied all the allegations. Wow. So this was March 28th, 2024, right? We'll say Diddy has been hit with a wave of civil lawsuits in recent months and is now a subject of federal investigation. Federal agents this week executed searches of Combs' properties where guns were found. His phones were seized at an airport as a part of a warrant issued from the U.S. District for the Southern District of New York. Law enforcement sources have said. Pause. Frame the way things are framed, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, is important because it says where guns were found, but it didn't say these were illegal guns, right? These were illegal firearms. This man could be uh, a, f- a car carrying a licensed firearm carrier, right? But they're not saying that in here. They're just saying that they found guns. Pay attention to the wording whenever you guys read. That's a part of critical thought. How things are framed oftentimes influences how you understand it. So moving on, since November, Combs has been hit with 5 lawsuits in New York accusing him of sexual assault, sexual trafficking, and engaging in other criminal activity. Combs has denied all the allegations, calling them sickening. A source familiar with the matter told NBC News that at least 4 people have been interviewed about allegations of sex trafficking, sexual assault, and the solicitation and distribution of illegal narcotics and firearms. We're gonna come back to that, um, because that's big. That's really huge. Aaron Dyer, an attorney for Combs, described the raids this week as a gross overuse of military level force. In other words, they went in there excessively. It was overkill. They squashed a fly with a hammer. Is basically what the lawyer is saying. Neither Combs nor any of his family members have been arrested. Dyer uh, noted in his statement. So they did all of these things, but they haven't arrested him. Typically, I was listening to some lawyers, you guys, and typically they said the normal process is they arrest people and then you see the raiding of the homes, right? But they were going in trying to find something before they've even done that. So it just it's out of the normal, right? And one thinks, okay, if it's out of the normal, why are they doing that? What is the intention behind that? Here go the lawsuits that were filed against Combs prior to the raid. Combs has denied all the allegations individually through statements by his representatives. So on the 23rd, this is the one that we all heard about. And I did a bill. You guys, again, like and subscribe to the channel, support the merch. But also go back and watch some of the bills that I've done. And one of the bills that I did was the New York Adult Act, where we got in depth about what this is and how these people were able to file these charges and these claims. So this was November 23rd. Cassie and 2 other filed suit. The singer Cassie, Combs' former romantic partner, shocked many in November when she filed a civil suit against Combs, alleging that the music mogul sexually and physically abused her during the course of their relationship. She filed her case on November 16th under the New York State Adult Survivors Act, which gave adult victims of sexual violence a 1-year window to file civil claims regardless of the statute of limitations. Before that, it was statute of limitations, but now that was the modification. Now that there's no statute of limitation, right? In the suit case, Cassie alleged that Combs raped her, beat her in fits of uncontrollable rage, and exerted a tight hold over her life. She alleged that he would force her to engage in sex acts he called freak offs with other men, often sex workers whom he paid to travel with them while he watched. The abuse ranged from 2007 until Cassie left him in late 2018. The suit said Combs vehemently denied the allegations from Cassie, whose full name is Cassandra Ventura. They settled the suit a day after it was filed. Now, ask yourself this. If they settled the suit a day after, right, which was back in November, that was when the suit was filed, why are we just now seeing this video if they cannot use it with in regards to Cassie because it's already been dealt with? It's already been justice served, so to speak, with that. Why now bring this out, right? What is the goal? Behind all content, there is intent. So, what was the intention of putting that out there, knowing that, hey, that case has been handled? So, now what? What's on the horizon? What are we doing? What are we doing here? The abuse ranged from 2007. Okay, I read that. Conesville, yes. A day after it was filed. Joy Dickerson Neal said Cassie's lawsuit inspired her to come forward and file a suit against Combs on November 23, a day before the Adult Survivors Act was set to expire. Dickerson Neal said that Combs drugged her, sexually assaulted her, and recorded the assault without her knowledge while she was a student in 1991. She agreed to have dinner with Combs on January 3rd, 1991 in Harlem while on winter break from Syracuse University, according to her suit. Pause. So he raped her and she went back and had dinner with him. That's what this is saying. Okay. It was there that Combs intentionally drugged her and took her to a place where he was staying. The suit said Dickerson Neal said she lacked the physical ability or mental capacity to fend Combs off as he sexually assaulted her. Now that was on the mind you now that was on the second time that happened because it happened again. She flew back, but she went back and got with him. Right. She later learned from a male friend that Combs filmed the assault and showed it to other people, the suit said. Combs denied her allegations. On the last day of eligibility under the Adult Survivors Act, Liza, Gardner, filed a lawsuit accusing Combs of sexually assaulting her when she was 16 years old. So this only gets crazier and more bizarre. Gardner alleged that either 90 or 91, she and a friend met Combs and R&B singer Aaron Hall at an event held by MCA Records in Manhattan. After the party, she was invited back to Hall's apartment with Combs, the suit said, and the two offered her drinks throughout the night. Combs then coerced her into having sex, the suit said, leaving Gardner shocked and traumatized. Hall barged into the room after Combs was done, pinned her down, and sexually assaulted her, according to the suit. So, wow, that's a dual case, right? That's on Diddy and Aaron Hall. Aaron Hall, for those of you who don't know, for you youngsters out there, it was a group called Guy Groove Me, Let's Chill. These were a few songs, right? Back when I was a youngster, a young lad. But yeah, the group Guy, it was Teddy Riley's group. Hall did not return NBC News' request for comment on the lawsuit. Combs denied Gardner's allegations in a suit throughout through his representative. Then in December 2023, Jane Doe says she was gang raped at 17. So these ages are underage girls, right? These are minors that are claiming. These are women who said they were minors when Diddy raped them. Then in December, a Jane Doe filed a lawsuit alleging that she was gang raped and sexually trafficked by Combs and Harvey Pierre, a former longtime president of Combs' record label. The unidentified woman said the assault happened in 2003 when she was 17 and Combs was 34. I'm gonna try to go through these quicker, right? February 2024, Rodney Jones, accuses Combs of RICO Enterprise. Here we go. In February, a man named Lil Rod Jones, alleged in a federal suit that Combs and his associates engaged in serious illegal activity. Jones worked as a producer on Combs' latest album, but also lived and traveled with him from September 2022 to November 2023. According to his lawsuit, he alleged that during that time he was sexually harassed by Combs, pressured to engage in sexual acts, forced to procure sex workers for Combs, and witnessed Combs giving drinks laced with drugs to people at parties. The suit said that Combs required Jones to record him constantly, which resulted in Jones obtaining hours of footage in which Combs and his staff allegedly engaged in criminal conduct. Screenshots of video clips were included in the suit, described as being from parties in which underage girls and sex workers were present. You know, they just recently came out and said that they found tapes and footage of Puffy violating a sex worker, him doing acts on a sex worker. So I just assume that this is who they are, who those tapes included. March 2024, Combs' home searched by federal agents. On March 25th, agents with Homeland Security investigation raided Combs' properties in Los Angeles and Miami. The sources familiar with the matter told NBC News that firearms were found at his residence, but no additional details were provided. At the time of the raids, Combs was on his way to a scheduled trip to the Bahamas and was stopped at a Miami airport prior to departures. Officials seized his cell phone, sources said. Dyer, one of Combs' attorneys, issued a statement following the raids and said that Combs was never detained but spoke to and cooperated with the authorities. He described the raid as an ambush, saying there's been a rush to judgment based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits. There's been no finding of criminal or civil liability with any of these allegations, Dyer said. Mr. Combs is innocent and will continue to fight every single day to clear his name. Now, mind you, guys, whoever's watching this, because somebody might be triggered, and we want to respect everybody, right? But we have to be truthful. That video that you guys witnessed, what you saw, Cassie took money for that. That butt whooping she got, she accepted payment for that, right? So that's been resolved. She's resolved it. But a lot of people, that's going to, I mention that because oftentimes one crime will convict a man for life, at least in the minds of the masses. And sometimes in the minds of society, everyone, or at least I have people in my family who have been incarcerated and they can't seem to get back on their feet because society never lets them live down whatever crime they might have been convicted of committing. Now, that happens on all levels. At every level, we see that, right? And what I'm saying here is, you know, many people will be triggered like that because they've been victimized. And I understand that that's a trifle severe, but justice works as though you have to show and prove every single case or every single accusation that you claim, right? It has to have merit, meaning it has to be backed, it has to be shown and proven, right? We have to show and prove. That's what the judicial system is based upon, correct? Innocence until proven guilty. And welcome, 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 y'all. If you're on X, share out the space. If you're on YouTube, grab a friend and tune in. You know the vibes. So I appreciate y'all coming through and hanging out with me because we got a little bit more. I got a little bit more to give you guys. So yeah, that's interesting. He's gonna clear his name. So the next one, April 2024, Combs' son, Christian Combs, is accused of sexual assault. Grace O'Markey alleges in a lawsuit, I hope I said that right, that Christian Combs drugged and sexually assaulted her while she was working on a yacht that Elder Combs had chartered for a trip at the end of 2022. The suit also named Sean Combs as a defendant. Thus, the assault is alleged to have occurred days before Sean Combs hosted a New Year's Eve yacht party with celebrity guests. Omar K included as evidence transcription of audio clips that were recorded by a producer of her denying his advances as he gropes her. NBC News has heard two clips of audio transcribed in the suit, purportedly from the night of December 28, 22, but has not verified who was recorded. So that's still murky. It's in murky waters, right? Representatives Christian and Sean Combs did not immediately respond to a request for comment. May 2024, video surfaces of 2016 assault on Cassian Hotel. Months after Cassie's civil suit was settled, CNN obtained a video that shows Combs attacking Cassie in an assault she described in the suite. As an assault, she described in the suit, excuse me. The network reported the incident was captured in a Los Angeles hotel, and that hotel is closed now, by the way, in March 2016. And though there is no audio there, there are multiple angles of the hallway. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I saw it. It was despicable. It was very much despicable. But that's a little bit of the timeline. Now I said I was gonna go back. Then I said it was something I wanted to do. I said I wanted to go back. I wanted to go back. I was gonna come back to something, right? Hopefully I can find it. I'm getting old, y'all. My eyes. I need no carrots today. But it mentioned all of the different charges that they were trying to get Puffy on, right? It mentioned everything that they were trying to that they're saying that has been done. Now I'm gonna play a video from CNN where they're gonna go also into detail. And all of these lawsuits are civil lawsuits. They're all civil lawsuits. There's a big difference, brothers and sisters, between civil lawsuits and criminal lawsuits. And I would say it's incumbent, if we care to understand and interpret this thing properly, that we understand what those differences are. And they're not the same. It's just like if you're at a job and you get written up and they say, hey, when you sign here, this is not an admission of guilt. This is just and acknowledgement of reception, right? That's two different things, right? It's the same with the civil and the criminal cases. It's not necessarily that they're guilty, it's the reason why a lot of times we see them settle in these civil lawsuits, right? Because what governs and what is considered uh, admissible in these court and how they define civil and criminal, it differs greatly, and we're gonna talk about that. But I wanted to go back to where I was because it was a certain paragraph that I wanted to focus on a little bit. Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? It's toward the top. It was one of the first. Here here we go. This is it. This is the one. We got a winner, Houston. A source familiar with the matter told NBC News that at least 4 people have been interviewed about allegations of sex trafficking, sexual assault, and the solicitation and distribution of illegal narcotics and firearms. That's what they really want with Diddy. That's what they really trying to do. They really want to pin all of these things on P. Diddy, right? Sex trafficking, all of that stuff, the sexual assaults, the drug. They want to make Puffy into a real monster because they don't care about. Let's be real, y'all. America don't hardly care about women getting abused like that. They've just started, at least not melanated, not black women. I didn't hear a whole big outrage with Sandra Bland. Nobody was hollering about what's the sister that was killed. Breonna, I think it was. I want to say Breonna Taylor. It was her name. Her boyfriend was shot and killed. No, she was killed, and they tried to pin it on her boyfriend. There wasn't a huge outcry for these people. Nobody was crying for them. At least not the way that they're crying for Cassie. You know, it just didn't happen like that. So what's going on? What's going on? I see you, Mastermind. Peace, peace. It just didn't happen like that. And so, you know, I was speaking to someone earlier before I started the podcast, and the sister was saying there's something deeper going on. There's something bigger that we're not noticing, right? With all of these different things happening. What's the underlying meaning? Why do they really want this guy? What are we not seeing? What are they not telling us? Well, it is my hypothesis that they are trying to pin something huge on Diddy and they want to vilify. It's necessary, right? It's necessary to vilify and dehumanize before they then criminalize and then penalize him. And all of this sex trafficking and these drugs, they've, they have a grand jury that's already been tasked, and they're starting to contact people. They're starting to message people. They're really going after P. Diddy. So it is it is something, and I hate to see it. I really do, because uh I'm not for I'm not on anybody's side. Justice works in this way. It's not for or against you, right? You get what you deserve, but we can't rush because we understand in the society that we live in, black men, especially, and excuse me, now affluent black men don't always get justice in the way that it should be received. They don't receive it in that way. And so let me share the screen for you and have you guys take a look of what they're saying on CNN. And I appreciate everybody. Mastermind, I see you. You can get some of the people on fan base. Tell them to come on through. We having a good time and learn a thing or two. So this is CNN, and they're going to discuss a federal grand jury may soon hear from Sean Diddy Combs' accusers. So here you go.
With CNN exclusive, the Department of Justice may be taking steps to indict music mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
Two sources close to the investigation tell us that a federal grand jury may soon hear from Diddy's accusers. Since November, Combs has been named in 8 civil lawsuits, 7 of them directly accusing him of sexual assault. CNN entertainment correspondent Elizabeth Wagmeister is here with more on her exclusive reporting. Elizabeth, tell us what you're learning.
We have learned from 2 sources that potential witnesses have been contacted and notified by federal investigators that they may be called to testify in front of a grand jury. Now, there is no timeline for when this may happen. We are hearing from sources that the investigation is very much still underway. We remember back in late March when 2 of Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami were raided. That was the start of this criminal investigation. And now, with our reporting that this could go to the grand jury, this is absolutely the biggest escalation in this investigation and gives some indication that authorities are looking towards a possible indictment. Now, as you mentioned, there have been a slew of lawsuits against the music mogul. He faces 8, 7 of which are directly accusing him of sexual assault. I hear from a source that many of these accusers who have filed these civil suits have been brought in for questioning, some of them being called in numerous times. We hear that many of these potential witnesses have been cooperating with these investigators, some even offering up evidence that they believe could be of note for this investigation.
Elizabeth, the majority of the plaintiffs in the civil suits, they've now been interviewed by federal investigators in the criminal probe. We know the LAPD previously said that they couldn't bring charges based on that 2016 Cassie video because of the statute of limitations. What could federal investigators be looking at here?
That's absolutely right. Because of the statute of limitations, that provides really a blockade for many of these accusers. But we do know that this federal investigation, which to your point, Boris, is of criminal nature, is largely based on the accusations that are in these many mounting lawsuits. So this is a criminal investigation at this point. Of course, we remember that when Diddy's homes were raided, that his attorneys called it a gross overuse of military force. They called it a witch hunt. We know that Diddy has denied many of these allegations that have come against him, although he hasn't responded to all of them. So at this point, it is an investigation. We have to wait to see where this may go. But again, this is a large escalation now that we know that potential witnesses have been notified that they do want to bring them to testify in front of a federal grand jury in New York City. So much more to come. But also, another thing that we have to watch out for, Boris, as these current cases are being litigated, are more accusers going to come forward? There has been a constant domino effect since November when that first lawsuit from Cassie came out. And now, could there be more?
Yeah, they just keep coming. They do. Elizabeth Wagmeister, thank you so much for that reporting.
Now that we're seeing
They just keep coming. Yeah, and I suspect they're gonna continue to come. Yeah, I suspect they're gonna continue to come. But like the man say, we have to just make sure that we stay steadfast. Peace, peace. I see y'all. Just peace. What's going on, Joyce? I see you. What's happening, sister? Peace, 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 peace. Y'all recognize that? Peace, peace, peace. Soft. I see you. So yeah, we see that the grand jury has now begun to talk to people who are potentially going to testify against Mr. Combs. And as I suspected, they were building this thing up. They're showing this for something grander, for something much broader, much bigger. And, in that, I want to read what the grand jury is going to come out with, because I'm assuming and I'm betting that it's gonna be heavily laden with sex trafficking, with drugs, illegal narcotics. They're gonna try to get Mr. Combs for something much bigger than just assaulting a young lady in a hotel hallway. But now, getting back to what I was saying, this being something that has no relevance in society, right? I said that earlier, that a lot of people that I had noticed and observed, they had said things like, man, why are we paying so much attention to this whole P. Diddy debacle? what relevance is this? And so what it made me do was it made me go and look. It made me look into how black celebrities get treated. I had to look and see if there are any studies that talk about affluent black celebrities, men, and their treatment in the judicial system, right? Because this is becoming a little bit too much, too often. We're becoming a little bit too familiar with this, right? I mentioned those guys, Mr. Cosby, Mr. Kelly, uh, uh, who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Even Jonathan Majors. We saw Jonathan Majors lose his career, right? After these allegations, right? And so what I did was I did a little bit of research and I want to show you guys a little something. This is from the Department of Sociology at the University of Maryland. I found this article, right? You guys always go back and look for yourself. Always, always, always. It's important and it's vital that you research things for self and that you not just take people's word, right? Because if you are interpreting something through someone else's lens, you might not get the proper interpretation. So go read for yourself. So this is Department of Sociology at the University of Maryland. Study shows racial bias in media coverage of celebrity domestic violence. And it reads, athletes, musicians, and actors who commit acts of domestic violence continue to face heightened scrutiny, and new research from the University of Maryland reveals that the news coverage of such cases is often racially biased. The study examined 330 news articles covering approximately 66 celebrities between 2009 and 2011. So it's a little bit far back, right? To extract disparities between the reporting of celebrity offenses. The racial differences are attributed to two mechanisms, said Joanne Pepin, a PhD candidate in the Department of Sociology and the author of the study. First, when the media reports on domestic violence, men's violence is more likely to be portrayed as a criminal act when the celebrity is black than when the celebrity is white. Earlier research has demonstrated that black men are overrepresented as criminal suspects in the media compared to whites. Pepin's study found strikingly similar results in articles covering celebrity domestic violence. Black men presented as criminals, citing arrest information. Yeah, my eyes are getting bad, y'all. My eyes are getting bad. Citing arrest information, details of official charges, and mentioning law enforcement officers' involvement more often than white men. She discovered these mentions occurred 3 times more often when authors reported on black male celebrities than when they reported on white male celebrities. Secondly, reports are more likely to include excuses for men's violence against women when the coverage is a white celebrity than when the celebrity is black, explained Pepin. Her study further revealed that articles were 2.5 times more likely to include excuses for men's violence against their female partners when reporting on white celebrities than when covering black celebrities. Authors were also more likely to suggest white men's violent behavior resulted from mutual conflict and to excuse their violence due to mitigating circumstances such as inebriation. They were drunk and they didn't have control. This is a surprising finding, said Pepin. Some research suggests black men are more likely to be shown as addicts or prone to violent anger, but I found these depictions most often in news articles about white men. White celebrities benefited by highlighting substance abuse and anger as an excuse for violence while escaping the stigmatization of being deemed an addict or criminal. The study titled Nobody's Business, White Male Privilege and Media Coverage of Intimate Partner Violence appears in the journal Sociological Spectrum. Y'all can go pick that up. Like I said, I like to uh, give you guys something to research so that when you engage, it's much appreciated. You know, when things are given to us for free, right? As human beings, we don't always appreciate them, but what we work for, we most certainly always have a deeper connection with and a deeper appreciation for. So yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys because I think it's important because a lot of times in conversation, these things are totally negated. People never mention these things, right? And I only brought that to the forefront because I'm a person who, again, You should wait for justice. You should wait. Like Fat Joe said, I don't know all the facts. I don't have all the evidence. And this is whether it's Puffy, whoever it is that you guys hear about. How about waiting? How about sustain? How about reserving your thoughts and your statements for a deeper understanding, and that only comes when you have all the evidence. But I wanted to show that so that people out there who might be in barbershop conversations, beauty salons, family reunions, cookouts, and people have some sort of rebuttal, or they might intellectually or conversationally try to bully pitch it. But hey, you go to your research, and if they accept it or if not, you know that you've given them something that you're referencing other than just emotions, right? Real quick, let me do some recognition. My partner in crime is in here, y'all. Miss Jessica Tapia, the purpose marketing mama. She says, "Hey, my guy is live." Yes, I had to, Jess. I had to come live. Listen, real quick, I want to shout out you guys. I have another business venture going, and it's called the STVHS, the Stream Team Virtual Hustle Squad. And the Virtual Hustle Squad, man, we are going to be giving you not only dope content, we're going to be teaching you how to monetize and repurpose and rebrand all your content, right? So if you are a creator, if you're stuck, if you don't know which way to go and how to get there, you might want to join the Stream Team Virtual Hustle Squad, because myself and Jen will be teaching a multitude of things. We have our own Discord set up. um, we will be on every platform, which includes LinkedIn. We will be on YouTube, and we will also be on Spaces. So you guys will be getting dope content from me twice, right? It'll be Lead with Logic, and it'll be the Stream Team Virtual Hustle Squad. So, and then Soft or Closet, catch you on my TV. Yeah, yes. I appreciate everybody coming through. And again, if you're in Spaces, please, please, please repost, retweet the space. If you're on YouTube, tell somebody, send them the link, grab a friend, and tune in for those people who enjoy these type of intellectual, intelligent, insightful conversations. Now, back to the lecture at hand, as my man Snoop used to say. So yeah, we talked about civil. I talked about civil and criminal court. That's something else. These are all civil cases, but they've now made it a criminal case, right? What we're seeing is them compiling the civil cases and making it criminal. Well, what exactly is the difference between a civil and a criminal case? What makes them different, right? Because again, people, you'll hear this in the rhetoric, you'll hear this in different conversations. Well, he was sued. You have all these things coming against him, all these suits, all these cases. But just like people aren't all created equal, neither are court cases or courts, I should say. So this here is lawhelp.org. You guys can go to it right now or whenever y'all get a chance. The differences between criminal court and civil court is just that simple. But let me get to it. In a criminal court, the government files a case against someone for committing a crime. The person accused of committing the crime is called the defendant. The government must prove that the defendant is guilty beyond beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm so used to people saying beyond the shadow of a doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a very high standard, right? If the defendant is found guilty, they may go to jail or even prison, right? So that's the criminal court. Now, let's see what it is in the civil court. I want y'all to pay attention. In civil court, one person sues or files a case against another person because of a dispute or problem between them. A business or agency can also file a case in civil court or be sued in civil court. If someone loses a case in civil court, that person may be ordered to pay money to the other side or return their property, but the person does not go to jail for losing the case. Now that's not That's not what I want. Hold on. Okay, here we go. This is it. How to win? How difficult is it to win a case in civil court? So to win, you must prove your civil case by the preponderance of evidence. In other words, the judge or jury must believe that your case is stronger than the other side's case. So it's based on a belief system, right? It's based on, you know, what the potential is. See, when you look back at a lot of cases, I keep going back to OJ, and y'all check my build out on OJ. OJ lost in civil court. Why? Because of the preponderance of the evidence. He won in criminal court as he should have. He was innocent. Let me say that again. He was innocent. But he lost in the civil court because of the preponderance, the probability or the possibility that something happened is not as strong as beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not as high. So remember that, brothers and sisters, boys and girls, when you're out there speaking and people begin to now say, "Hey, he lost the criminal case." Well, that's true, but when you put it in context, it doesn't take a whole lot to win a civil case. You just saw that. It does not take that much. It's not that hard to prove. But as we heard, they are really trying to take Puffy through that ringer. They're really trying to get him. They're really trying to get him. And so um I want to show you guys something else. Now the public reception, right? How people responded to Mr. Combs, what they were saying, what they were writing, how different media outlets responded to Mr. Combs. I like to pay attention to all that. I remember when Bill Cosby got into the trouble that he got into, he said, I expect all of these other medias that are not black media to really crucify me, but I really expect more out of black media. I expect y'all to at least be just in y'all's dealing with me. At least report the facts. Be a good journalist, right? Do the right thing. Now, I wanted to preface that this is a segue into what we're getting ready to read, right? It's a real segue. The Root. I don't know if you guys read The Root. How many of you guys read The Root? If y'all in the chat, put up a one if you read. Let's get some crowd participation. If you read The Root, put a one in the chat. If you in here and you read The Root, put a one in the chat for me. Let's give y'all a call to action. Yeah, if you read The Root online, it's an online publication, right? It's a black publication for online. So I just wanted to kind of show what The Root had to say. This because we're looking at how people what their responses were, right? How they responded to this whole Puffy thing. What happens to famous black men following domestic violence and sexual assault allegations? Right? You see how they worded it? Said allegations. That means not convictions, allegations. Several men have been caught up and their careers have been impacted in wildly different manners. So they got everybody on here. They got Russell Simmons and John Singleton, my man from the director Boys in the Hood. Obviously, you see Diddy right there, Dr. Dre, Jonathan Majors, and Mr. Nelly himself, Floyd Mayweather, Trey Songz, and Charlemagne the God. The John the Jonathan Majors saga that has kind of gripped the nation for almost a year, stretching out longer than expected. His domestic violence sentencing was pushed to April 8th from February 6th as his lawyer continued to work to get the guilty verdict overturned. A couple of days following the postponement, the New York Times released a story in which two other women accused Majors of physical and emotional abuse. Emotional abuse? Wow. That combined with a terribly timed ABC interview about the issue could prove detrimental to what most people believe would be a sentence that doesn't involve jail time. Alas, Major's career as he knew it is toast. He lost his lucrative Marvel gig. His film magazine Dreams was dropped from a release schedule, and a U.S. Army commercial featuring him was shelved very quickly following his March 2023 arrest. However, there could be a glimmer of hope as Majors was seen last weekend allegedly bulking up for a new role. It got us wondering about how the careers of other black celebrities accused of or charged with domestic violence or sexual abuse have fared following their allegations or convictions. Spoiler alert, you might be a little surprised or not at how easily some of these men have had it. Now, I wanted to put this out because this is supposedly a black publication, and I was interested, and it was strikingly alarming for me how they were responding to what was going on, right? I couldn't imagine Ebony back when I was a kid, or Jet, or Essence back in those days, right? Back in the 80s, early and mid 80s, to take the tone that these new publications are taking. But anyhow, nonetheless, Diddy. Before Cassie blew everything to pieces, Diddy was a borderline billionaire who had the world at his feet and more famous friends than we could list in the piece. His reputation is now in the toilet, and the hits keep on coming. Included a sexual harassment lawsuit from a male producer on his most recent album, and has been at the center of salacious sexual rumors involving Usher and Meek Mill. Why report rumors, right? He has people have made these claims, absolutely, but if they're just rumors and they're not anything that's solid, why even list them? But okay, Diddy likely can't do much of anything career related for a good minute. His famous Star Island parties are likely shut down until further notice, and he better not attempt anything in which he asks folks for money for a good while. John probably didn't know about this one, huh? In 99, Boys in the Hood director was charged with a misdemeanor after allegedly reporting punching his ex-girlfriend, choking her, and leaving her with bruises. He apparently only stopped when his daughter pleaded for him to do so. The court ordered him to shoot a film on domestic violence, though if it exists, we can't find it. Tyra Banks spoke on being physically and emotionally abused by a boyfriend in a 2006 interview. She never confirmed, but most are convinced her abuser was her ex Singleton. He even made heading for lewd and inappropriate behavior during the interview with The Root on 2017. Singleton died of a heart attack in 2019, early into production of his beloved final television project, Snowfall. Before Me Too had the opportunity to hem him up, his beloved, look at that, Oville and lower behind the camera profile likely protected him. I just found the tone of this article from this black publication to be problematic. And this is something that people are putting in print. This is not conversation, right? If they're printing this, what are people saying in conversation is my point. Nelly, another who went under the radar for years. Nelly was arrested charged with the second-degree rape of 22-year-old college student in October 2017. He denied it, and she dropped the case, suing him later for sexual and defamation, to which he countersued. They settled the following year. I remember, and here's Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre, I remember he slapped the girl D back in the 90s. Not laughing, but I remember that. I remember seeing D talk about that. Charlemagne the God. I remember when it talked about him and the young girl, Trey Songz, Chris Brown, all of them. But I'm gonna get down to the end because I thought something was they talked about all these men, and then they got the Bill Cosby and R. Kelly, and they said, "See y'all in 25 years to never." That was how they described Mr. Cosby and Mr. Kelly, right? So obviously, whoever's writing this publication, there are some bias in how they view black men, celebrity. What happens to famous black men or famous black men in their treatment? It would appear, or at least my interpretation is, they think that they don't have it as hard as they should, even though they settled. There were allegations of that nature. So again, it was my point to show this because I wanted to show you guys that even famous publications, black convictions have seemingly come down harsh on these affluent, famous black men following sexual assault allegations, right? Just allegations. It didn't say anything in the title about convictions because that's two different things. Remember, brothers and sisters, the difference between an accusation and a conviction is proof. It has to be proved. See, you just can't say something to me and have no proof and I take it as the gospel. That's foolish. Yeah, that's foolish for us to do that. You need to go back and investigate that thing and make sure. Look, I always tell people, if you don't believe me, that's what the powers that be do. Wreck your car and call your insurance company and tell them, hey, I just had a bad wreck and I need $1 million. That's what my policy dictates. That I'm due $1 million. Fork it over. They're gonna be like, whoa, wait a minute. This is a claim. A claim has to be investigated. We have to make sure that you're not lying and what you say happened actually happened. Right. And then once we've investigated, now you'll get whatever it is you said that you would get inside of your policy, inside of your contract and do. And so if people thought like that, if our minds and our brains function in that manner, not saying negate any victim, a person who has been victimized, the claim. No, take the claim serious. But don't make it the gospel truth though before you've investigated it, regardless of what your trauma is, regardless of how you've suffered. Justice don't work like that. It does not. And I was watching the interview. It's crazy. The interview has since been taken down. Willie D Live, he did an interview with Jamaica Hill, the lawyer from out of Houston. And I might have said this already, or I can't remember. Maybe it was the discussion I was having with some sisters before the live. But she mentioned how a lot of these men get overcharged, even if they're guilty, right? And she was talking about R. Kelly. Yeah, she was talking about Mr. Kelly. She said, yeah, he was overcharged. And guess what? That surviving R. Kelly didn't help it. It only justified it and fed the notion for people just to be intellectually and lazy about finding what justice really is and where it was. That's not to say that he was innocent, y'all. I don't want y'all to misinterpret what I'm saying, right? Or distort or get a distorted message here. I'm just saying that, hey, inequalities and injustice exist, even for those who are found guilty. There's still a proper procedure, and they should get whatever they're going to get commensurate with the crime. You're not going to give someone who jaywalked the electric chair, right? I know it's a polar extreme, but it's just to illustrate, hey, oftentimes these brothers get more than what they bit off of. They get more than they can chew. They get charged more. Like she said, they get over sentenced. But now we're gonna go and see some. We're gonna go and see some. I want you guys the last thing, and I'm gonna let you guys. I define allegedly, right? Allegedly means used to convey that something is claimed to be the case or have taken place, although there is no proof. That's an allegation, you guys. That's the definition of allegation. An accusation is a charge or claim that someone has done something illegal or wrong. The action or process of accusing someone. So these we understand, these are all things that happen without proof. Like I said, it's between the convicted and the accused is the proof. I'm pulling something up for you guys. Hey, listen, I appreciate you guys coming in and rocking with me for as long as y'all have rocked. I'm gonna give you guys what I give everybody. My name is Brother Lead. Really, it's Brother Faheem. That's my real name. It's Brother Faheem, but for intents and purposes of this live, I'm Brother Lead, and I'm the maker, the owner, and the sole controller of the Lead with Logic podcast. And you guys are at one of the platforms where you can check me out, which is YouTube. Some of you guys might be watching me on X. You can also listen to me on Apple Podcasts. You can also hear me on Spotify for podcasters. You can check me out on Google Plus, and then you can see and tap in on Instagram. So yeah, hit that like and subscribe wherever you are, any of them platforms, so that you can stay plugged in. Lead with Logic stands for letting enlightenment and divinity win in this harsh level of God's infinite creation. Y'all get on board. We also have merch, so you guys can support the movement, support intellect, and support critical analysis, and support being your best self and letting your guide, your logic and your rationing and your reason and your understanding be your guide. That doesn't mean throw that emotion away. Just don't be led by it. Don't be led by it. More reactions. More reactions. I recently saw where Cameron. Did y'all see that? Cameron Cameron was interviewed on CNN. They brought Cam on, and I thought he was so on code. We always talk about things like having a code, right? Black folks, we gotta be we a code requiring, a code desiring people. And what he did was masterful. What from what I witnessed, Cameron really showed like, hey, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? But he showed justice, though. That's what I loved about it. He showed himself to be just and just a thinking man, and that's big for Cam, because if you've seen any of his interviews in the past, uh, with a lot of people or with certain people, he hadn't always said the right thing or said something that was, coherent or made a bunch of sense. But I want to show you guys this. We can watch this. This is something else. Let me get this on. I'm gonna start it over for you guys. I live out in the west side of Jerusalem, so my Wi-Fi runs slow sometimes. Y'all gotta forgive me. Let's see. This is the CNN interview. Oh snap! It won't. Let's see. Might not work. Hold on. We might have to avert. There we go. The Wi-Fi gods came through. All right, what you got for me, Killer King? Let's see if it's gonna go through. Let's see if it's charging. But basically, they brought Cam there under false pretenses, is what he says later. But she's asking him about Diddy and the Cassie uh interview, the Cassie tape, and about Mace's
Thanks for being
experience with P.
thanks
Diddy.
for being here. First, when you saw
Yeah, this thing is tripping.
that video of Diddy, Cassie in that hotel, did you recognize that Sean Combs?
What I want to say, first of all, when I seen the video, everything in the video was egregious. I'm against. I don't support all the charges that's alleged against him. I don't support any of that trafficking minors, domestic violence. I'm totally against it. So when I seen the video, yeah, I was kind of upset with it. No, being that I know him, he's not necessarily a friend, but yeah, I was upset when I seen it. But
Did you
as far as
recognize
everything I
him?
just said,
Did you recognize that
I
kind of
wasn't.
anger at all from your
I don't know him like
experiences?
that. What do you mean? Do I be recognized? Did I recognize him? I seen him. What do you mean my experiences? I seen him and I thought it was disgusting. I didn't do a zoom in to see if it was really him or nothing, but he admitted it was him. So yeah, it was him.
What did you think about the apology that he gave in that other video?
Ain't me for this. The apology ain't for me to decide. It's for Cassie. What I think about it don't matter. He ain't do nothing to me. Cassie need to ask Cassie if she accept the apology. I told you how I feel. I said what I said.
I want to play a conversation that you had on your podcast back in September with
Hmm.
Mace. Listen.
Yeah.
When you had your record deal, why did you take me to Biggie Smalls and not Bad Boy? Man, it's almost gonna bring me to tears to say this. I just being that I saw you as such a good friend, I wanted to put you with somebody I knew with.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. A lot of people ask me that on
Yeah, I
Instagram,
knew
man.
with
Don't
Biggie
have me that's all
instantly.
here crying
No,
and
that's
shit,
yeah.
man. I don't want to get
Instantly, I knew.
emotional in here, man.
Instantly, I knew Biggie would do right by you.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I mean, um, is there something known in the industry about how Diddy treated his artists?
So I'm going to get some cheeks after this horsepower joint. Um, I'm just going off what Mace said. Mace took me to Biggie. I don't really know Puffers like Mace know Puff. So I appreciate what Mace said. And of course, that's my brother. So if he felt that way, then he felt that way. I can't really tell you how Puff moves or anything like that. Mace may know better than me because he was signed to Puff. I wasn't. But my show does come on at 8 a.m. Eastern on YouTube. It's called It Is What It Is. And y'all make sure y'all check it out. I mean, I might get some more information out of Mace from there. But for me to tell you how Puff act and all that, I don't know. I never was signed to him.
Yeah. What about the industry in general? I mean, so many people have pointed out that Diddy couldn't get away with this stuff if there weren't a lot of people protecting him. Do you think that's the case?
Who the talent agent for this joint? Like, you think I'll be sitting around watching what Diddy do and all this? I didn't know this was a Diddy joint that y'all invited me to. Yo, who booked me for this joint?
All
Y'all
right.
wild, and I don't be sitting
Cameron,
around watching Diddy and all that. Yeah, man,
thanks.
come on, man. That's
Thanks
just
for
crazy,
joining
man.
us. Thank you for your time
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah, thank you for having me. You enjoy.
I love the way he handled that. Stayed on code, represented his brand, and made them look real silly in the process. Like, nah, you're not gonna get me. And that's not even my man like that. That's Mace's man. Mace was with it. That wasn't my dude. So you're not fixing to get me to say anything crazy at all. Nothing. But he explained it. He went into detail as to why uh he did what he did. And basically, I'm not gonna show it because it might act crazy. But he just basically said, "Man, they didn't call me there for that. They called me there under false pretenses. They told me that I was gonna be talking about, you know, my show, and then I get on there and I get bum rushed and bombarded with something totally the more different. So you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Yeah, absolutely. I thought he was so on code. And he was eloquent about how he felt. He let the people know, look, that's not something that we get down with. But it's not for me to judge. It's for Cassie. That was the apology for him. You know, he didn't allow them to suck him into, you know, any type of character assassination that they have going on, right? He really didn't. But also, we also have different things that have been said, right? Different people have been coming out, y'all. And this is all the public reaction, right? These are all black people coming out saying certain things. And it's disheartening to me, right? It's really disheartening. People are coming out making not people with claims, so to speak. I mean, they have their claims and they have their time. They're gonna go to court and it'll be investigated. But people just coming out saying, you know, silly stuff, different things. Here we have the mother of music executive Shakir Stewart confirms that Diddy broke a chair over her son's head at the wedding in Italy, leaving her son bleeding. Uh, in 2000, Combs allegedly broke a chair over the head of music executive Shakir Stewart at a wedding in Italy, leaving him bleeding. Stewart's mother and two close friends confirmed the incident. Stewart's mother saying he left him bleeding on Combs allegedly threatened Stewart, saying, "I'm going to kill you." Stewart's mother advised her son to leave the music industry, describing Combs as crazy. That was that. And this is, on X, you have the Art of Dialogue. The Art of Dialogue, I follow them heavy because they have a lot of discussions and you get to see people's perspective, right? The unfiltered perspective. I love that. So, you see a whole lot of Diddy on the timeline. Let me go back to the post. We can get back. We can get back to the post. We can get Diddy on the timeline. So these are certain things that people are saying. Shaka Khan's daughter weighs in heavy on the Diddy situation. She says, "I'm glad this is happening to you. You got it." And mom publicly disrespected her, yelling and screaming like a lunatic when my little brother tried to get you out of my mother's face. Your security jumped my 19-year-old brother. These may be your dark days, but I'm singing and dancing, watching your demise. Shaka Khan, isn't it great, mom? You know, that's a part of the that people are having. Insiders have confirmed and told Rolling Stone that Biggie was indeed preparing to leave Bad Boy Records before his death, and Biggie's lawyers were entangled in a legal battle with Diddy to get Biggie back his publishing rights before he was. So these are all, different things. I even saw one where they talked about it was a what was it? It was a Rolling Stones magazine. That's what it was. They were saying how on Rolling Stones that that Diddy they had offered to do Biggie. This was right after Biggie died. I'm gonna try to go up there. This was right after Biggie died. Trying not to show nothing because I know sometimes they have some crazy stuff on there. I want to get my live shut down. But but they just talked about here's Dame Dash saying that Dame was pretty fair. When you listen to Dame was like, uh, I'd ask him if you saw a dude do that to your daughters, what should that person's punishment be? Because that's what you should be. Absolutely. For what he did to Cassie, I'm with that. I'm all I'm on board with that. Absolutely. Um but yeah, just let me show this one more before I get let you guys get off of here. If they gonna show it. But maybe they won't. It's a it was the yeah, they're not going. I can't find it. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop right there. You know, with anything, you guys, it's best that we do the knowledge, meaning we look, listen, and observe. They say fools rush in, and not just in love. With anything, it's foolish to just go in, you know, blindly like this, emotionally charged. And as a black man, watching so many wealthy black men be punished in the court of public opinion before the court of law by black people, it's really disheartening to me. It's really disheartening. Uh, I I identify with Bill Cosby. I expect more out of us than that. I expect us to at least be fair with one another. Can we do that? Can we at least be fair with one another? Right? Because oftentimes other ethnic groups, other people, they're not always fair. And historically, they haven't been fair, right? I had this whole I had found this whole article about lynching in America. And one of the presidents said the big issue in America with the lynching is the raping of the white women. And that this was alleged, right? This wasn't anything sound. It was like, hey, look, the numbers didn't denote that black men were raping white women. But the president understood that if he said these triggering words, it would incite this mob like group think mentality that would result in what happened. Black people, primarily black men, being brutally terrorized for years and years, damn near 60 something years from like 1896 to 1950, right? That's how the NAACP was formed because they were reporting and they went to fight the lynchings, right? The Scottsboro boys and the Duluth lynchings and the Omaha lynching. You might have seen it, but my point for mentioning that is these brothers didn't get any justice. It was rushed justice. That's the tradition in America. That's how America moves because that's historical fact. You all can go and look it up right now. Lynching in America, and all type of information will come up. So I say that to say, I'll never have a group mentality. I'll never have a mob mentality, and I will never rush to judgment. And I'm hoping that you guys won't do that. You guys won't do that either. That you'll commit yourself to leading with logic, so that you can make the best decision in real life, how you deal with everybody in your environment, in your cipher, and also what you see. We don't know if Mr. Combs is innocent or guilty of all of those the crimes that the grand jury is getting ready to try to come and get him for. But I do see, and I hope you guys see. I hope I've done a good job of helping you guys kind of connect how um, what's going on with Mr. Diddy, with Mr. Combs, it affects us at the lower level. So when you guys hear people say this has no relevance to my real life, I don't see why we're harping on P. Diddy. Au contraire, mon frere, it has a big relevance in our life. Because just like with OJ, just like with Michael Jackson, just like with Bill Cosby, if those wealthy, affluent black men can be negated, if justice can be negated from them, and they have the means and the resources to endure the process, what does that mean for the blue collar black man or the blue collar man? How is he to fare? How is he to navigate that space? What is he going to do in the judicial system? He has no chance. He has no chance. So, hey, listen, man, I'm glad you guys came. I was gonna take some. If it's anybody, if you guys have any questions in the chat, I see where Jess said, "This is what I like to listen to." Hey, these are the conversations that I like to have. You know, as we age, right, and our mind evolves, what we found interesting might not be so interesting, and what wasn't interesting now takes on a whole new meaning. That's that's true. That could be found true in a lot of aspects of life, but in this, when we're dealing with, thinking critically, when we're dealing with doing analytical research and coming to a proper and fair and weighted conclusion to then help us better our perspective, man, you cannot go wrong. One more thing that I would like to show you guys, something new I'm gonna do real quick, if I can. Here we go. Yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna show you guys something. And I want you guys, when you get a chance, I would love for you guys to go. I don't know if y'all paid any attention to this in the past, but this is my website. Leave of Logic is a one-stop eye shop that considers and caters to the common man or woman with an uncommon sense of style. You know the vibes. Hey, hey, just a little something that people can pick up. Hoodies, tees, we got it all. We have men, women, children, any of that stuff. You know, there we have it. There we have it. There we have it. That's us, our vision, our products, our team. And it's more to come, right? It's more to come. So yeah, man. I just thought I would share that with you guys. And that is leadwithlogic7.com. Leadwithlogic7.com. Woo. So, man, we've been on here for about what, an hour and a few. So yeah, man. I think what I'm gonna do is I am going to, yeah, I appreciate that, Jess. I appreciate that. I think what I'm gonna do is now I'm going to open up a space in spaces so that if anybody would like to comment that did not comment into the chat or just speak about the information that I presented with them, they'll have that opportunity. They will have that opportunity. But listen, y'all, like the minister always used to say when he would end his speeches, like, hey, may we meet again. in the light of understanding. Hey, peace and love, y'all. I hope y'all have a productively peaceful and positive Thursday. I appreciate y'all rocking with me, every one of y'all. And I appreciate y'all who are going to watch this in the replay. Y'all can go, if y'all want to watch this and reference it, or just go back to whatever, something that I said, something that you connected with, something that you like. Like I say, like and subscribe on YouTube to the Lead with Logic podcast. Hey, peace and love, y'all.